Hey, Flip with Kelly coming at you. How's everybody doing today? Just a quick little update. So yesterday we had it was prior to yesterday actually, made contact with the seller, and eventually it might have been 2 or 3 times. We deal with different sellers, so I'm not 100% sure if it was this seller or not. I think it was. Anyways, did a walkthrough at some point. Just kept pecking away at it, following up. Went on the walkthrough. Like I said, it was either this deal or another deal. Took a while to get to that walkthrough, but anyways, so spoke with the seller yesterday. She wanted like 80,000 or something like that ish. Might have been 75, 85. And my partner, Martha, was wonderful enough to run the comps and know where we had to be at price. So we went in with a LAO of 20,000, I believe. It's just an old condo, probably worth around 80,000, and the seller wanted what was not worth 80,000, but ARV probably at 80,000, and the seller wanted that retail price right around 80. But we knew that we had to get it at a lower price, obviously, if we're gonna get a deal and make a profit on it. So I did want to run a number crunching equation your way too, as long as we're on it. Let me just look it up here quick. I had an itchy nose lately. But so we know LAO was 20, maximum allowable offer was 35. Of course, she was thinking right up there around 80, so we ended up at the 35. We actually wanted to be lower than that, so hopefully the deal works out, and I think it will, because we basically got 3 different options to run with, between like a wholesale and a hotel, and then there's a hybrid third option, because we have a partnership going on. So sometimes one partner can buy the other partner out. But okay, so the equation is you find your ARV. That's this property, and it can be this property and or similar properties if they were fixed up in premium condition, like a flip this house TV show, where everything's updated, looks new. So that's the ARV. Take that price, determine what that is, run your comps. No, this isn't comps of properties that need to be fixed up. It's ones that have already been fixed up and sold. So get your ARV, multiply that by 0.7 roughly, or whatever your investors typically buy it at so they can make their profit. Minus off any repairs. So that's going to depend on how rough the shape of the property is. Maybe it needs repairs, maybe it needs updating, maybe there's some major stuff wrong with it, maybe there's cracked foundation, maybe there's a bad roof, AC units are not cheap. So is it structurally sound, stuff like that, or is it all got too much character? Maybe could have a little bit, but so I'll subtract off your repairs, and then subtract off your fee, your assignment fee for wholesaling, and that's what your offer is going to be to the seller. Okay. Now, obviously, you can start out LAO lower than that, but that's going to be the max that you can offer, right? And still collect your fee, still factor in the repairs, because the end buyer's going to have to discount that, so they can't do that for free. And then I would say your repairs would be time and material. And maybe you even got to factor in some holding costs there. If it's going to take 6 months to do the project, to flip it, but I guess that would be figured in the 70%. So anyway, it's an art and a science, and after you get a few deals under your belt, you'll probably figure out, okay, cash buyers want to be right around in here. And you've got different cash buyers. You've got ones that, like I deal with, that own 6,000 doors, and you got some that'll pay a little higher, some that'll pay lower. But once you do a few of these, you kind of, if you track it and keep a written log of where everybody's kind of coming in at, then you'll have a little better idea. But when in doubt, you try to get it for the lowest you can, and then the seller's going to be, okay, where's your lowest? And then you can either meet in the middle or you can't. And then so yeah, you're either going to be able to make the deal work or you can't. So you'll figure it out pretty quickly, and then if all else fails, just lock it up for as low as you can. Like if the seller is just not willing to come down, you come up, and in time you'll have the wisdom to know, hey, I'm not going to be able to sell this deal for what the seller's lowest number possible is. And then you got a couple choices. You can either follow up with the seller, you can at a later date, like once a month or something, you can, or maybe once every couple months, maybe once a quarter, maybe once every 6 months. But the more you follow up with them, the more likely they are to sell when they're ready to sell. So so you'll have the wisdom to say, hey, we're too far apart, and follow up with them, or you can lock it up for the lowest amount that the sellers and you are willing to agree on. And then, especially if you're doing this virtually, because then you can walk the property, and then or even if it's local and you've already walked the property. But if there is something that like one of your subcontractors, when you have your partners do the walkthrough, if you can do a price reduction, and then at that point, hopefully you haven't wasted your cash buyer's time, and you don't want to get a bad taste in their mouth. You don't want to do this in every single deal, right? But once in a while, maybe you do lock it up for as low as you can, and then go for that price reduction. And if they say yay or nay, if they say nay, then you just gotta say, well, where can I'll send you over the cancellation mutual release agreement. So these are kind of your options of what you have, and there's probably some other options as well, but that's basically what you have to go off of. And in time, your negotiation skills will get better. You'll find out what works, what don't work. Maybe you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste the seller's time. You don't want to waste your cash buyer's time. And you don't want to waste your title company's time. Because once you get that process rolling down, title company and they probably expect that once in a while. You think you've got a deal, and then something don't work. As long as it isn't too often or every deal, they will probably overlook that or consider that cost of doing business. But they're going to want you to actually have some deals get to the finish line so that they can get paid on some of these deals. So anyways, yeah, she was at around roughly 80. We came in at 20. Well, that wasn't going to work, obviously. So I think from there I jumped up to, like, I don't want to fart around too much. I mean, I could have went 25 or 23.50 or whatever, but I just jumped up to 30 because I just don't want to waste each other's time too much. I kind of knew where we needed to be, and I stuck at that 30 for a while, a little harder, and basically she still had that 70, 75 in mind. I think she came down to 70 then, and I mentioned to my partner, and I think partner's like, well, good luck to her. And I'm like, well, hey, why don't we offer the 35? That's our maximum allowable offer that you originally determined. And worst case scenario, maybe we have to do a price reduction. So she's like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. So basically went at that 35, and I'm like, this is our highest and best. I'm going to hold hard on that number. And so then I think I had to set up a scheduled phone call, like, hey, I'm going to call you at this time to discuss it, because she wasn't answering back. Also on DocuSign too, you can see when they look at the contract when you send it over, and I believe she looked at it at 1 a.m. In the morning. So for whatever reason, she was up at that time. You can imagine in a normal person's life, things get busy, chaotic sometimes, out of control. And especially with these sellers, like going into foreclosure. This happened to be a homeowners association, so an HOA. She got behind on her fees or her payments for the HOA. And so they can foreclose on her just like a bank can. So I believe the HOAs take care of the outside of the building, like the roof and probably the siding and stuff. And I think it's the owners of the condo, I think it's their responsibility to take care of the inside. Obviously, you get a roof leak, comes down through the ceiling, that's going to be damage on the inside, but it was caused by the roof. So I'm not sure, maybe check the laws or bylaws of the homeowner association agreement, whatever you signed up for when you bought the place. Maybe each one's a little different, I don't know. Never lived in a condo, but I've dealt with a few different sellers with condos, and we actually have wholesaled a condo before with these that's had these HOA fees. So anyways, yeah, yesterday the seller, she's like, well, I got on the phone with her, answered some questions, and she's like, oh, I better just sign this agreement before I change my mind again. So she signed, and so now we have an executable purchase agreement contract. And tomorrow, my partner, being that it's in her neck of the woods, she's going to bring the earnest money and the contract down to the title company and get that over to them. And yeah, so then the owner wants it closed 30 days or before, as fast as we can do it. Sooner than 30 is great with her. However, we're dealing with HOA, so I believe we've got to get a copy of the rules and stuff that they have. And then from there, our exit strategy is going to be either assign it to a cash buyer, or possibly my partner will, I'll assign it to her essentially, or collect the fee, and we've done many deals together, so we trust each other, and it's just a matter of figuring out something fair there. So, and then a third option would be to wholesale it. So, in that case, we would send a cleaning crew through there to clean it up really good. And I don't know if we'd be getting into paint, carpet, or appliances, or I don't even know about the exterior, if there would be anything there, or maybe that's on the HOA. So most likely nothing, no pruning of trees, or who knows, cutting grass, I don't know. But my partner can figure that one out, but because she's got eyes on it where I don't. So, and then we're also making it a point when we contact these sellers, because we've done many deals now, 18 for me personally, some of those with my partner, some of them on my own, but questions come up from the sellers, or issues or challenges or problems, and so we make it a point to point things out to them ahead of time, get ahead of it if you can, right? Which you can if you know enough to do that, which you're watching this video, you'll know. Learn, study, and then implement it. But like, we make a point to we actually go over the contract a little better with the seller, and explain to them that you want to get all your contents out of there. So like on this seller, she's like, oh, I got a washer and dryer in there. I'm like, hey, that washer and dryer is yours. Whatever's yours that's in there, that's not nailed down to the wall or floor or whatever, washers and dryers, take them, just get them out of the property before the closing date. Once it's closed on, like, you can't just let that stuff sit in there forever and think that you can just come get it whenever you want. And what I tell them, which is the truth, is one of the first things we do is we send a clean out crew in there. So whatever's in there that is junk, or we don't want it, or it's ours now after closing, we're throwing it in the dumpster. So you may never see it again. So just make sure you get it out of there by closing. So she did agree to the $35,000, got the contract signed, and we go over other things with the sellers. So we let them know that this is the amount you're getting, less any prorations. You're talking prorations, you're talking utilities, taxes and insurance, and or not insurance, but taxes, and I think that's pretty well, if there's a mortgage on it, but so actually the mortgage is going to be theirs, but less any past association fees from the HOA. That's on you, right? So we're not paying them off for you, but so I try to explain all this stuff to them, so it ain't a big surprise to them. They know what they're getting into and what they're signing, and that's less likely they want to back out of the deal last minute, because you've made them aware of everything, hopefully, and you're resolving issues before they come up. They're able to plan ahead, get their washer and dryer out of there, and so you can point out the benefits, their pain points, and like, hey, we came up 5,000, so that will help. She owed 10,000 for HOA fees. Well, we came up 5,000, so that 5,000 will go towards that 10 at least that we came up, and help reduce that 10 down to 5 for you. So buying it as is, no realtor fees. You don't have to make any repairs to it. Take what you want from the property as a courtesy to you, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. We'll handle everything, get it out of there for you. Just take what you want, leave the rest. We'll clean up the mess. Don't worry about it. So very good. We hopefully will get this one across the finish line, and it's kind of one of those deals where the seller's going through a really hard time. This particular seller is, according to her, from what she said, this is the first time she's ever had to sell a property, especially maybe a seller hasn't sold it cash before, so a little different than the traditional through a realtor way. And I just told her we're going to try to make this a smooth and easiest process you've been through. We're seasoned buyers. I bought 18 of these, and so we'll just make it as painless as possible for you. And then now the other job is to follow up with her weekly, and I've always made a point of doing this in all my deals. Touching base with the seller. First of all, this is her first time selling. Second of all, many of the sellers that you're dealing with, or that we're dealing with, they maybe only go through this once or twice in their life, so, or just a few times. So it's not like they do this stuff every day. So keep them in the loop. This is their largest asset. There's a lot riding on the line. There's money for them, usually at closing, and it's a huge thing for them. So keeping them in the loop once or twice a week, the way it sounds. This particular title company, the gentleman, I'm assuming closing agent at the company, title company, is good about reaching out to sellers. So I'm going to make it a point to reach out to the seller a minimum of once a week, if nothing else, just to check in and see how she's doing. I usually try to have something significant or important to tell them, something that's relevant to even sending them a text or calling them, a good reason to reach out to them. And my partner, being that she's dealing with the title company and stuff, and she's more local to this deal, me and her will be in communication with each other. There may be stuff that she can tell me that will allow me, because I'm going to be the one to contact the seller. So I have the best relationship with the seller, or so it appears. And in me and my partner's opinion. So, but doesn't mean my partner can't give me data or information to have a good reason to reach out to that seller. So on your contract, you can put 35000.00, so it looks like there's more zeros, and have a total purchase price written down. So you got your deposit, and then amount due to seller at closing, and then total purchase price. If you word it right, that'll be less confusing to the seller. You could just say price or total price, but total purchase price spells it out a little bit more for the seller, so they don't think that they're getting $34,900 instead of $35,000. So just putting the wording in your contract properly, so it's very simple, straightforward. So it's less questioning for the seller. They will trust you more. They will have one less thing to ask you about. They've already got enough stuff on their mind. They got to move. They got to this. They got to that. They got to figure out a place to move to. They've got to pack everything up. You can imagine. It's just got to be, I've been through it. You guys probably moved before. I don't know if you've ever sold a property or not, but there's people involved. There's families. There's friends. There's where you're moving to, that maybe there's a job you got to get to from wherever you're moving to, and could be who knows what, right? All kinds of stuff. So pets involved maybe. So yeah, stay tuned, and we are planning on closing this one. Closing dates about 30 days out, and we're going to try to get it done sooner if we can, but we're also dealing with the condo HOA. So because there's another layer there to deal with, it could take the full 30 days. Hopefully we don't have to ask for an extension, but our goal will be to get it done sooner than 30 days, because that's what the seller wants. And then of course, you know, we get paid a little quicker. So, but we can't force the title company. We can't force this. We can't force that. We're just going to do our best to help it along as quickly as possible. And the main thing is getting it done. Getting it done by the 30 days or sooner, all the better. And then getting the seller her money, and getting us our money, and getting the cash buyer a property that he can either fix and flip, or he can use as a rental, or however they want to do it. So maybe they'll want to move into it or something, who knows. Anyways, if you found any value on this, smash the like button, share it with somebody you know, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments. I also have a WAP link down there. You can contact me either way. If there's anything you want to know about or learn about, let me know. And this is Flip with Kelly. Have yourself a great rest of your Sunday. Oh, and maybe check out UFC. First time UFC on a Sunday at the White House, right? Isn't that crazy? But I don't know who's going to win. But it's I'm sure it's going to be an amazing fight. But we'll talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Have a great one.